All right, we're gonna see if we get a little attention on this one. A little bit of short notice, but this live is gonna be a focus on credit unions versus banks, our preferences on between the two, why we see value in one over the other. So let's see if we get a few. And my partner is in here. I don't know about y'all, but it seemed like fall coming early in my part of the woods. Not as hot later in the day as it normally is. It says August. What's up, my guy? Got a credit cousin in the building. How you feeling today, man? How's your day been? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See, you've been putting out some hot content lately. From the hustles, everything from that to the spirituality. Salute as always. All right, so I got my guy on here. Let's start this conversation out. I know my guy credit cousin is okay. Okay. Did that shut your day down once the truck broke down, credit cousin? That's my man. Ain't no slowing down this train. How you doing? All right. Who else we got joining in the building? I guess we'll get this conversation started. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit more engagement, before we get out of here. But, I did want to start talking about credit unions versus banks, our preferences. All right, Wayne, I see you, man. Welcome in, brother. Uh, just focusing on, it seems to be a heavy preference towards credit unions in the committee and the community. I believe that's a shared sentiment for many people. And I am confident that it's a conversation worth having. No, I have not, credit cousin. You'll have to share a little bit on that one for me if that app you're talking about. That's going to be new to me. So, kind of wanted to discuss a little bit more about our affinity for credit unions versus banks. The value between the two, our mindset around preferring credit unions. Is it an emotional attachment or is it a logical attachment? I know my guy, credit cousin, big advocate for all financial institutions that are of quality. I happen to be in the same camp. I don't have a preference between the two. I've been treated well by both. I've had rough patches by both. It's really about learning how to navigate the financial system as a whole, in my experience. What is the attachment with credit unions for us? If it is a value-based argument to credit unions, then what is that value proposition versus banks, personal, or excuse me, private institutions with banks? And do we think credit unions going into the next economic cycle are going to be where the value is? Do you think there's going to be a difference between private banks and how they function and what they'll be able to provide, going into an easy money economy that's going to be coming with the Federal Reserve, making it pretty clear that they plan to pivot? Are credit unions going to be, you know, where it's at, the opportunity? And how are we assessing that opportunity when it comes to credit unions? So I want to know a little bit more about, y'all thoughts on credit unions versus banks, your relationship with them up until this point in time, why most of the audience that I've encountered and people I encounter in my career on a day-to-day basis, they lean towards credit unions. And one of the biggest, you know, arguments I see for credit unions is the barrier to entry and the argument for fees or the lack of fees. Most times than not, credit unions are easier to bank with and they are easier to borrow from. And when you're in a certain financial position, it's a very respectable, understanding why you might be attracted to a financial institution that gives you, you know, less hoops to jump through to bank and borrow with them. They tend to have some great financial resources in the community as well if you take advantage of them. But I have to say that private banks, when you learn how to navigate them, are, you know, extremely valuable institutions. So I just want to know more about you guys' mindset, credit unions versus big banks. What the value is going to be going into the next economic cycle that we're about to enter for a quarter this year and beyond, where, monetary policy is about to change. Money is about to become, free flowing in the economy again on some level or another. Where are the credit card opportunities going to be? Where are the best interest rates going to be? Where's the value going to be? So for me, in my personal opinion, yeah. So my guy, credit unions have lower rates to borrow from, but you want to use as many banks and credit unions as you possibly can. Much agreed. Very much agreed. Um, Credit unions are designed to be supportive to the working and middle class. That's pretty well understood. They're very well designed to provide solutions where, private institutions typically can't. So, how you doing? All right. So, definitely going to be better rates more times than not. Sometimes private banks have relationship pricing that can be pretty competitive to credit unions. I also like to talk about the concept credit unions and their accessibility. I'm a big about accessibility. If you know my content, which I know each of you do, I'm very big about accessibility. I love banking local. I love being able to reinvest back in my community by doing so. So I love that model of credit unions and community banks. But technology, infrastructure, the ability to be able to be anywhere in the country and occasionally anywhere in the globe and be able to handle a good portion of my banking needs is important. Uh, you know, Credit unions are, in most cases, not all. I'm getting into the habit of doing some financial institution reviews going forward. You guys will start seeing that content come. Definitely some strong credit unions out there with some good technology, but they are very geo-restricted in many cases. And even if they are accessible membership, around the country, they're still not usually physically accessible beyond a certain region. So, there's definitely a conversation to be said around accessibility. One of my other big arguments for private banks and institutions is going to be they have deeper pockets than credit unions. And that's usually by design, by layout. They have deeper pockets. For those of us who are in business, who are seriously grinding to get to a certain level financially, the needs are going to change. And easy accessibility and low fees are not going to be enough of an argument to keep the bulk of your primary relationship with, a credit union. They can't keep up. So there's a lot to be said around the value proposition of private institutions when you start to talk about their ability to cater to you on a different level when your business or personal finances reach a certain level. My guy, credit cousin, with another financial strategy where he's found out how to use 0% credit cards, business credit cards with 12-month 0% intro periods to pay down on a mortgage faster. Don't know about anybody else, but being able to use 0% money to get down on a mortgage that's gonna historically and on an amortization level cost me tens of thousands of dollars nearly a year, that's a big deal. How you getting that done, credit cousin? What's the short snippet or elevator pitch on how you getting that accomplished? Because that's a big deal. I think many of us could get some value on how to accomplish that one. And where's that 0% card from? Because that sounds like a chase offer. Okay. What's up, my guy? What's up, my guy? I see you. So the next economic cycle we know that's coming, interest rates are about to drop. Federal Reserve has put an extra stamp down on that. And their Jackson, Jerome Powell spoke at the Jackson Hall event, and he made it abundantly clear his confidence is high enough. He feels it's time for a policy shift. Quantitative easing is about to kick in. Rates are about to go down, and borrowing is about to change most likely. So I want y'all insight. What do y'all think about the economic cycle we're going into? And again, what do you think the value is going to be between these different institutions? What is no utilization? Are you saying no utilization shown on your personal credit? Okay. So what do y'all think about the economic cycle that we're headed into? What do you think the value is going to be between credit unions and big banks and private banks, period, any size? Are y'all sticking with y'all, those of you who are pro credit union, are we sticking to that argument? Use a payment processor to liquidate the card and have them send the check to the mortgage service company. Absolutely. 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 So my guy, credit cousin, just talking about another bank/credit strategy of taking 0% cards, finding a way to liquidate those cards, and then turning around and sending those liquidated funds over to the mortgage company to pay down the mortgage faster. Powerful. I'm guessing that's also going to free up some cash flow if you decide to recast or refinance that mortgage as well, or just flat out get the fortune to pay it off. Obviously, that's going to be a powerful strategy. So that's pretty awesome. What institution is that from? FNBO. Okay. I don't have a relationship with them yet, but I'm definitely going to take a look at them. Yeah, I've heard a lot about FNBO for sure. Definitely going to do some research on them. What type of limit were you able to get on that business credit card, credit cousin? And for those of y'all paying attention, as you see, this is a private financial institution, FNBO. So let's put some context on it. I know some of these credit unions have their own cards, but that's a private institution. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's correct. All right, my man. So my guy says the prices of homes got to come back down. Getting lower mortgage rate isn't really the problem. The price of homes are too high. So yeah, that's correct. That's another huge topic right now is the housing market, interest rates, home affordability. I've been shooting some videos around that. Doesn't get as much traction on the channel because I think it deviates from whatever the algorithm is used to me putting out. But you guys know I have an active mortgage license. You know, I got my toes in that water too. No question about it that the increase in interest rates only made homes more expensive because prices still didn't stop rising. They continued to rise the entire 2 years that interest rates have been inflated. So home affordability is definitely in a rough spot. What's crazy is I believe economic cycle changes. You know, we'll have to see. There's some strong arguments that prices will come down. Personally, I don't see the economics and the supply and demand scenario for that to be the case. You know, we still have a significant housing shortage. We have people sitting on the fence that are lined up to buy as rates start to come down. I mean, just the temporary shift down we've seen in mortgage rates has already, sparked a serious bump in refinances, for instance. So it's pretty evident the demand, at least the first couple years of rates coming down, which the Federal Reserve is already predicting they're going to pull rates down, the next 2.5 years or so through 2026 is the SEP, their economic projections. So as my guy's already mentioning, I don't see how prices are going to come down in the next 2 to 3 years. And when rates come down, I think the acceleration of home prices will get worse. So those of us that are not already on a property ladder and own a home or own some kind of real estate property, investment property, primary residence, whatever, it's only going to get harder for the foreseeable future. I don't know if we're going to see prices come down on homes. My guy says he's looking to pay off the mortgage on his property within the next 3 years using a credit card strategy. I'm not mad at you. If you can rotate that debt off those 0% cards and keep that game going and get access to that capital and pay that mortgage off, not mad at you at all. Saving a lot of money, and you'll see some great benefits on your credit report. Once your mortgage is starting to show pay down at big chunks and pay it off, your credit report ought to see some serious benefits from that. As long as you can keep those balances on those business credit cards rotating, I've definitely thought about a similar strategy. I'm just focused on my business credit cards going towards the business operations that I have, but definitely have thought about something similar for sure. Definitely, I like it, credit cousin, for sure. Uh, anybody else that's on, own any property yet or has been in the housing market in recent times? Comment down below. Let's talk about the housing market a little bit in this one as well. And also, credit cousin, who's your mortgage with? My guy J Rad asked a question down here, and that's okay, man. As far as it being related to the topic, I mean, it's around banks and credit unions, but that's relevant enough. The question is, when is a good time to ask banks for an increase on the credit line? So, assuming we're talking credit cards and not just a personal line of credit, you know, there's a few ways to look at it. Number one, on average, 6-month cycles are pretty good with most financial institutions. Another good gauge is when you're spending at a high level on the card and you're able to demonstrate paying, spending at that higher level and paying it down, efficiently. That's going to usually be, it's doing that for a number of months, by the way, is another good way to barometer to be able to push for a credit limit increase when you're able to spend pretty high up and pay it back down effectively. That'll show banks that you are using the limit that you have to capacity and that you probably can spend more. Another way that you can look at it is going to be if you've had significant shifts in your credit report in a positive way. So, or your income. So when you think about my credit score from the first time I applied for the card or the last time um, I got a credit limit increase has gone up significantly. I paid down a lot of debt. Inquiries have fallen off. My income went up $3, $5, $7, $10,000 since the last time I applied. That's another great time to consider a credit limit increase for sure with your financial institution. So again, just to recap on a few big ones, JRAD, if it's been a regular 6-month cycle, maybe not a lot has changed, but it's been 6 months since you asked for the last one and you've been using the card effectively, that's good. Um, Another one is when you have significant shifts in your credit report, things have gotten better in some capacity or another since the first time you applied for the card or the last credit limit increase. income has improved significantly. Your relationship with that bank has grown more, like you have more accounts, or you have investment accounts or something with them that have grown, and you've expanded your relationship with them, and that in their eyes increases your borrowing capacity. Another and powerful one. So let me know if those few help you out, if you have more questions around that. My guy credit cousin, 25K from Chase Bank, 25 from US Bank, 16 from FNBO, 15 from MBKC, American Express business card, 60K with 2 cards. I'll take it, credit cousin. I'll take it. Uh, what is my guy, Ricardo Torres? Shout out to my guy, man. Good to see you. What is considered spending at a high level on a credit card? So look at it as relevant to the limit itself. Doesn't matter if it's $1,000, $10,000, or $100,000 limit. Just look at it more like percentages. I really have had my experience, with financial institutions. If you can spend, you know, even 30, 40, 50% of those cards, a lot of people will say it needs to be higher, like you need to touch the limit on a card. I'll be honest and give you my firsthand experience. When it comes to credit limit increases, as long as you're not hitting the maximum exposure limit and the rest of your financial support it, like if you're spending 30, 40, 50% of that card and then paying it all the way off or paying it down to a healthy level, like under 15 or 10%, that's usually really good spending levels on those cards. Financial institutions are not that I've experienced. And again, as a banker that takes credit card applications on the personal and business side and deals with underwriting on those cards, I've not experienced a scenario where you got to spend 80 or 90% on those cards to get, to be considered a high spender. If you're using 20, 30, 40% of those limits every month, if it's $1,000 and you're spending $300 or $400 a month on that card, if it's 10,000 and you're doing 3,000 or 4,000, et cetera, et cetera. And long as you're able to pay it down at least around the 10% or below or to zero, then you're in good shape as far as high spending in my experience. So that's live experience, by the way. Yeah, credit cousin, of course. Free and clear mortgages are the best mortgages. Yeah. I mean, debt free is the best debt, most definitely. Um, you know, Mortgages are really useful products for sure. Like the opportunity to take control of valuable property, with somebody else's money is something that you can't beat, but definitely if you can pay it off in most cases versus some tax benefits. I will throw that out there. There's some tax benefits to having debt on property. But other than that, I definitely would prefer my property paid off. Mari, my guy, J Rad, of course, man, anytime. Awesome advice. Thank you for me looking the best moment to ask them when is the best time to do it. Absolutely, man. Take at least those 4 or 5 tips. Hopefully you wrote them down or were able to take them down. I can repeat them if you need me to, but any of those one-to-one should work. And definitely if you're doing more than one of those at a time, you should be headed in the right direction for sure, my guy. Good luck with whatever institutions you're focused on, by the way. Let me know if you have more questions around that type of topic, man. I don't mind, jumping in between the live and asking that question. I got a few more of you in here, so I wanted to get any of you guys' opinion around, credit unions versus banks. I shot a video on it. Most of my, comments and responses that were gained, and most of the the vote was towards credit unions. And the question is definitely around: is that an emotional attachment to credit unions because they reject you less and give you less headache? Or is that a value-based attachment? Be careful, don't scale higher than too fast or push to business credit because my personal credit limits are too high. Yeah, definitely. Credit cousins, spot on, J Rad, and anybody else who's looking, around that advice. Listen, spend what you can afford to pay off. Spend 20, 30, 40, 50% of those limits or whatever you can afford to spend, but definitely what you can pay off. So I want to make sure I make that clear. I'm pretty sure that I kind of gave that indication about paying it back down. Don't spend on those cards which you can't afford to pay back down to a healthy range. 30% is that soft, decent limit. But honestly, you want to be 10 or less. The closer to zero, the better. So yeah, J Red, credit cousin is spot on. Don't put yourself in a position where you spend high on these cards and over leverage yourself, because that'll go the opposite. You can potentially risk getting limits slashed over time if you're not careful. So be careful with that. But yeah, definitely want to get anybody else's comments, thoughts on anything related to banks, credit unions, credit lines, credit cards, is open season, mortgages, housing market. but definitely, any perspective on credit unions versus banks. Yeah, J Rad for sure. Credit Cousin's gonna look out, most definitely. And if you don't know J Rad, Credit Cousin definitely has his own YouTube channel as well. So check him out. It's the same as his name as you see it on the screen. He definitely has a YouTube channel, so check him out, man, for sure. He gives that kind of content on a regular basis, for sure. Anybody else on the live have a mortgage right now, and if you have a mortgage, including you, Credit Cousin, do you have your mortgage with a credit union or a private bank, if you don't mind speaking on it? On a personal credit card, like to swipe religiously when the ball bill can be way off, and then 6 months ask for credit limit increase. Yep, yes, sir. That's pretty much the game plan, Credit Cousin. Yep, run it up for on those credit cards effectively and safely. Run it up effectively and safely, and then pay them off, and do that for about 6 months at a time. If that financial institution doesn't volunteer you um, a higher credit limit, then you should be qualified for one with most financial institutions. And in some cases, it could be a little bit sooner. American Express is one of those institutions. If you have Discover, they have a reputation of bumping your limit more frequently. 6 months is a pretty good sweet spot. But I absolutely encourage definitely run up um, your spending. I have a video actually coming out pretty soon about my experience with Navy Federal and other financial institutions around this topic with credit limit increases. It's coming out real soon. It might be in the next few days or so. I have a video already shot coming out about credit limit increases. So y'all check that out on this very topic. If y'all interested to learn more, I will lay that out for you, because there's a lot of misconceptions about, you know, uh, credit limit increases and credit card usage and spending. So, I want to cover that. I'm covering that in the video, y'all. Credit Cousin is spot on. That's exactly what I'm advocating. Run it up as much as you can afford to pay it down. And then at about the 6 month mark or so, maybe a little bit longer if you got the patience, go in and get that credit limit increase. And trust me, as long as you don't hit an exposure limit, as long as your income is stable or, fits the bill for the limits you're asking, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine. So, love credit unions, but Amex is the best. Got Bonvoy Brilliant at 25K, Aspire at 25K, Platinum at 30K. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, Ricardo. Same type of experience here. Same type of experience here. I do love credit unions, definitely. They're great, but I just said, I think before you even got on, Ricardo, at the end of the day, these personal institutions they have deeper pockets, and if you can show the financials and the low risk behaviors and indicators, they will definitely drop a big bag in your lap. Definitely. You guys have watched my videos where I've openly talked about the type of limits I have with Chase Bank, American Express. Now, mind you, Navy Federal is still taking the cake on the personal side. I'm going in for my next credit limit increase with them probably in September or October. So I'll let y'all know how that goes. But I'll probably at the moment, I'm at about 28 on the personal side with them. I'm probably going to go for 34 or 35 with them the next go around. I will definitely document that journey. But yeah, my Amex is, I got 60 or 70 grand with Amex between personal and business in a matter of a handful of months, a little under a year. You guys know Chase Bank, same type of ordeal. Of course, my guy Credit Cousin is like, I want the people watching this to win. Most definitely. That's what we do this for. That's what we do this for. Most definitely. You know, on here religiously, almost 500 videos, y'all. Most definitely putting out the content for y'all to be most successful. Definitely. My guy Ricardo says I got two with Navy Federal at 40K a piece. That's hard. Wish I would have got the flagship. Why don't you just product change? Why don't you just product change? If you do, you still want the flagship? Have you thought about product changing? I mean, you might be able to do that, Ricardo. You might be able to just take those 240Ks and product change and consolidate those limits. You're gonna have to check with them. I know someone Chase would do it. I product change to my flagship. That's my $28,000 limit right there is my flagship. I product changed to it. I didn't get it organically applying. I product changed. So you might want to consider that one. See, I got you, Ricardo, with the age for sure. Definitely important. Check with them. I mean, it's not product changes don't kill the age of the account. So that's something to keep in mind as well. The product change is not going to kill the age of the account. If the account is whatever the account is, it's just going to switch over to that new card. That credit age is going to stay the same. Like right now, my flagship card, our product changed maybe 2 years ago, and I had the More Rewards American Express co-branded card. When our product changed, the age of that card, which was 2018 or 2019, stayed. It's just I have a new card. You know, the product changed in the system, but the credit reporting didn't change, Ricardo. So, you know, you might just want to give them a call and see what they can do with that, man. I mean, you might have to obviously cut the limits down on, you know, one of those accounts, but you could probably product change one of them and see if they'll let you consolidate the limits between the two. It's not going to hurt to ask, you know, because that flagship card is a sleeper, by the way. Sleeper. I've already filmed a couple of videos talking about that being one of the best cashback cards out there. I mean, you get them a 2% on pretty much everything that Visa accepts. So, you know, that flagship card is powerful. For that small annual fee and the benefits that card has, in my opinion, that's one of the best hidden cashback gems, in my opinion. So you might want to check that out, Ricardo. But definitely congratulations on that success with those institutions. My guy, Credit Cousin, the mortgage is with Atlantic Union Bank. So I'm going to assume that's a private institution as well. I'm not sure. I'm curious. Did you shop credit unions and banks when you got that mortgage? Navy Federal only lets you have 80K overall exposure. So I'd have to consolidate the one. I would have to close one. Right. Yeah, if you're going for that 80 for sure. If you're literally strictly going for that 80, but I mean, even if you willing to get to 70 or something like that, I feel like that would be impressive. But you're 100% correct on that max exposure for sure. You would have to close one of them down. Definitely. How you doing, G? Yeah, absolutely. Credit Cousin, some of you mindful with EMAC, they definitely watching. Pulling soft, pulling to see if you're paying down other limits and they'll slash your limits. Absolutely. They will definitely get on your top with that. No question about it. No question about it. If you're not situated properly with your other financial institutions and you're looking risky, over leveraged, American Express and others are definitely always watching. No question about it. That's a fact.
And I have.
Definitely want to be mindful with all your credit cards with limits, personal limits especially. Now, business, you can get away with a little something for a little while. Not to say you want to take it for granted, but you can definitely get away with it for a little while on the business side. But personal credit card limits, man, you got to be very precautious about um, getting too over leveraged and not being able to pay those cards down for an extended period of time. Gotta be mindful of that one for sure. For sure. We have a huge debt crisis around credit cards and over leveraging, and many of our fellow Americans being stuck in a situation where they have to survive off of their credit cards due to stuff like inflation and these rising costs, and your income not increasing with it. So yeah, Credit Cousin, 100%. Keep your eyes open with that one for sure. For sure. Make sure you get it. Is that the Ricardo? Is that the personal line of credit you're referring to? Let me know when you say it says C-Lock. I'm wondering if you're referring to their personal line of credit. You say it is a hard pull, but it's clutch. Okay, okay, it is. I'm gonna have to check it out. I don't have that with them. I've kind of seen some content and looked into that with them. I've never saw, I haven't had a purpose for it, but definitely heard some good things about it. I'm gonna have to check it out and see. When I find a use case for it, I'm gonna have to check it out and see. Anything particular you using it for? Checking line of credit. Gotcha. Yes, I've heard of that. Yeah, yeah, I got you. You got a particular use case for it, or is this just another one of those products you've been building with Navy Federal using? Oh, speaking of some of these institutions, I don't know if any of y'all caught it, but American Express, and this is something that Chase had been offering for a while, and I think American Express is matching. Have any of y'all noticed that American Express is now letting you take loans off of your personal credit card? Y'all let me know if y'all saw that. If not, y'all need to go check that out on their website or something like, or any of their resources. American Express just launched that I saw. I don't know if it's been something they've been putting out for a little while, but that I just saw. They just newly launched where you can take a loan out for and off of your personal line of credit based on your available line. Have y'all seen that? Those that have American Express? Have you seen where you can take a loan out from your personal line? There's two different checking lines of credit. One is free, the other is a hard pull. I'm gonna have to go on the website and read back up on that, Ricardo. I'm gonna have to read back up on that when I haven't seen. I know I'm aware of it, but I haven't dived into that particular product with them because again, I didn't have a use case for it. So I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna have to check that out. What you got, credit cousin? Ah, all right, credit cousin. Man, I feel like you hold back on some of your content on your channel because you haven't even gotten to putting your properties in LLCs. Credit cousin, you must be taking your baby steps with your audience because you haven't got that yet. Yeah, Ricardo, go check it out, man. Look, I just saw it on the website and I actually follow their YouTube channel and some of their social medias. If you go with Amex, check it out. You can apply for a loan off of your credit limit on your card. Chase already does this, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Chase already allows you to do this. And I think American Express is just competing with their product, but you can literally request a loan off of your credit line on your card. So this whole idea of liquidation, these banks have caught on to it. They've caught on to it. They're not about to let the dark market or whatever get in on these different strategies. Like credit cousin was just talking about liquidating the card. So now, obviously, there's probably going to be a personal loan level of an interest rate. I haven't looked into that, but I'm sure the interest rate is going to be kind of, to the mid side, probably upper single or low double digits. But yeah, Ricardo, to answer your question, yeah, man, I know that's exciting, huh? Yeah, man, they are allowing you to take a loan. Chase has been doing this for a little while, like a year plus, where if you have a decent enough credit line and you're in a good standing with them, you can apply for a loan off of your credit limit increase or your credit line. I keep saying increase, but off of your credit line, and it's a fixed rate, whatever the fixed term, 3 years, 4 years out, 2, 3, 4 years out. It's not going to be a long term solution. But if you need liquidation and you don't mind paying upper single, low digit, double digits percent, you got a 25, $30,000 limit and you can get, you know, 10 or 15 off of it or whatever that number is in cash and use it towards something. It could be worth it. Down payment on a property, if you in the Turo business still, rent car, any of that kind of stuff, any of these side hustles, it could be a good, useful product. Go check that out. All of you guys, if you Amex members, that is definitely something I saw rolled out yesterday. Again, I don't know if it just came out yesterday, But I just saw it on their content yesterday where American Express is rolling out a loan off of your existing credit line, assuming you're in good standing. You have to apply for it, but you can get approved for it within seconds from what I see. So y'all check that out if y'all have existing loans, credit lines with American Express. I'm pretty sure it's on a personal side, y'all, but look, I'm gonna do my research just like y'all will, and we'll come back and meet again. I plan on doing more lives on Fridays. So, I've been doing my Pioneer videos, but I plan on, I think there's a decent size, enough size of us to start doing these lives, so we'll come back and convene on that topic. But y'all let me know. Can't do Chase 524, gotta wait until March. Don't know if I'll make it. Getting it. Hey, Ricardo, I can't blame you on both ends. I love Chase, man. As far as like overall institution, their credit cards are some of the best. That haven't been said. Waiting another 6-8 months or whatever it is from now between March, I can understand trying to be patient. So maybe you'll have to go to the business side. I don't know if you're already there or not yet, but maybe you got to go to the business side to get that itch off until you can get in with Chase. Because I'm actually thinking about I have business cards only with Chase, 3 ink cards. I have no personal credit cards with Chase yet. So I'm thinking about changing that this fall. I'm thinking about it. I got some inquiries falling off and some other things that I think will make sure that Chase feels nice and tingly inside. And I might apply for my first personal Chase card. So y'all are going to get that content fresh as well. Citibank does it too. It's called the Flex Loan. Yeah, credit cousin. A lot of these bigger institutions have caught on to it. And again, like I told y'all, there's such a private market, just like you were talking about the liquidation and these little small private services. These banks are not letting anything like that strip from their product usage and their bottom line and their profits. As soon as they see it, if it's something they can replicate, at a high legal level, ethical level, they're going to figure it out. That's all that's going on. Y'all know this is new. This is all in the last year or two. These banks have rolled this out. And that's because liquidating credit cards has been hot the last 5 to 7 years. These, people have figured out this whole hack of payment processors, returning the money back and all of this. And so these banks are getting on top of it. They going for it. They're going for it. Correct, credit cousin. You got to be careful. It definitely does go against your utilization. You are borrowing from your credit line. So that's correct. So it definitely has to make sense. It definitely has to make sense. That's why I think this is a game, number one, for the educated. Number two, for those with high enough limits. I don't think this game makes a ton of sense if you don't have a high enough limit to borrow effectively without hurting your credit line too much on the utilization side, and then having a reason, like a productive and a profitable reason for taking that loan out. But it's nice to know the features there. You got 20-something, 30-something $1,000 limit on a card, and your use case for that limit as a spending tool is hit its limits, and you have a legitimate opportunity with cash that makes sense, like to get that loan and go find another business venture or an investment venture that makes sense. I do think that product can make sense. I do think it can make sense. If you can find a way to make more money than what it's costing you to borrow it and not kill your utilization in the process, I like that product. But yes, credit cousin is 100% spot on. Got to be careful with your utilization. Say 3% for liquidation. Are you saying you found somebody that does 3% on liquidation for credit cards? Because a lot of people, I'm not gonna say a lot, but the few that I've come across have been expensive. They've been 5-6% plus. So 3% is pretty interesting. Yeah, credit cousin, I understand that. I have to find. I try to taper. I could go a lot deeper too, as far as like topic wise on some of these strategies. Um, I agree with you, and I respect that. I respect that. The fact that you are trying to keep pace for your audience because you really want them to learn and grow with you. And that's longevity. It means you're here for the long haul and you're trying to do right by your audience. I think that's great. I try to do the same, but there's so much to cover. Sometimes I get a little deep on my topics, but most definitely love that concept, man. Like getting people to just understand the basics of personal finances, getting their income together, growing on these products, building banking relationships. Definitely respect that, credit cousin. 100%. 100%. Definitely play to the pace of your audience when you're trying to do it for the right reasons. I respect that. Yes. Yeah, credit cousin. They have. They've been doing it for at least this year, credit cousin. The Amex has definitely offered me that business line of credit. I have not pulled the trigger yet. I might have to show an offer. I get it in the mail. And on my email, I will show you an offer. I'm gonna take the time to remember, and I'm gonna show you one of the offers. I have, credit cousin. I've gotten an offer from them for that business line of credit yet, and I am very interested. I have not pulled the trigger on it yet. I have not pulled the trigger on it yet. What you got, Ricardo? I would rather get the personal loan from Amex as long as you're already a member. It's not a hard pull. Got 40K 4 months ago at 8.95. Nice. Gotta pay it off in the next 3 months. 40K under 9%. Nice. Yes, definitely no hard pull if you're already a member. That is a hell of an interest rate on a personal loan in this interest rate environment for 40K. Not bad at all. I'm sure. What's the term on that, Ricardo? I mean, what's the furthest they're going out? 5 years, probably? 5 or 6 years? That's nice though, 40K on an 8.9. Hell, auto loan rates are like the lowest you get on those is 7 with most banks. So I definitely can't knock 8.9 on an unsecured loan. Absolutely. Absolutely. 48 months. Yep, that sound about right. 4 years. That sound about right. That sound about right. Did you use it for anything in particular? Was it just kind of getting access to the tool, or did you have something you were accomplishing with that? And credit cousin, did you get the offer from Amex on the business line of credit? And if so, have you done it yet? Did you get the offer yet from them? And if you did, have you done it yet? How you doing? I tell y'all one thing. I know I said it was fall when it came to the temperatures, but these mosquitoes is proving otherwise. Definitely still summer by the base of these mosquitoes. But we got Ricardo invested. Okay. Yeah, man. At 8.95% unsecured on 40K, I'm sure you could have found something to invest in. For sure. I'm sure you could have found something to invest in. I like that. Yeah, I've had a pre-approved offer for that loan with Amex for a while too. I haven't pulled the trigger on that. Y'all know, y'all follow my content. I'm maybe for some people I might be too slow. I'm very patient about pulling lending products from institutions. I take my time. It's rare that I do anything under 6 months at a time. You know, every night with Amex, I moved a little fast just because I knew I was capable of it. And I've slowed down with them significantly since I started to run into some hesitation with them when they gave me like a $2,000 limit on my last card. I was like, all right, let me slow down and start using what I got. But that was 4 cards in, so I get it. And that was in like a year's time. Yeah, Ricardo, I could definitely see how you would have found something to invest in for that. Definitely. Definitely. If you're still on, credit cousin, let me know if you got that same offer from Amex and if you pulled the trigger on it. I'm curious. Having got business credit, can you use it personal things or do it they check? Great question, Ricardo. Great question. Because if you haven't broken a business credit yet, with the kind of personal success, personal credit success you have, and your business credit success ought to be great with that comparable credit and that dynamic of it. But to answer your question, working at a financial institution I do business credit cards and small businesses and active user, I've not run into a single person that has had a roadblock with usage of personal spending on those cards. I'm going to caveat you on one dynamic of that. With American Express, I went for my business Hilton was my first business credit card with them. And I applied for a credit limit increase. Now, mind you, my utilization was a little to the high side. I was in the 40s at the time I applied with them. But the verbiage they gave me on the denial, they didn't deny it immediately. They wanted more, and then I gave them bank statements, and they still gave me a hard time. But the verbiage, Ricardo, was overall spending in non-business categories too high, something along those lines. So it is monitored, but it's not a thing where it's like you get the card cut off or denied for doing so. Now, most of my spending was nowadays on my business credit cards is definitely for business, but I use that particular Hilton card, that business Hilton, kind of blended. And so they did give me some kickback about non-business spend, Ricardo. So it's monitored, but again, it is definitely something that is doable, and not you can get approved for cards and continue to get higher limits with them. It's really the usage. I think if I wouldn't have had as high of a balance on there, it wouldn't have mattered. And I mind you, I paid that balance off and they gave me a credit limit increase automatically like a month later. So again, to answer your question in short, perfectly okay to use those business credit cards for personal. I would try to balance it off, and that's just me being precautious. But to answer your question straightforward, it's definitely doable. I firsthand, and I've also witnessed others use business credit cards, and that's whether it's sole proprietorship or official LLCs. So if you haven't done business credit yet, Ricardo, you got 20, 15, 20, and 25 plus limits on multiple institutions, man. You probably have some great success with business credit cards with these different institutions out here. They love comparable credit on business credit when you personally guarantee. And I can tell you right now, like, you got 15, 20, 25 plus on a couple different personal cards, highly likely you're going to get very similar or higher on the business side. So again, do your homework on it. But yeah, man, to answer your question, most definitely. My guy, Credit Cousin. And when I find a subscriber that wants to move fast like a Ferrari, tell him let's go and get to the business side. Yes, sir. Listen, Credit Cousin. When with your 110, I'm holding back several different strategies and topics that I don't want to drown my audience out. And stuff like buying real estate and deeding it in LLCs and stuff like that is definitely on the menu for sure. Definitely on the menu. Ricardo, Amex gives me an offer on the business platinum for 250 MR points to spend 20K in 33 months. Yeah, 250? 250? They definitely trying to reel you in, my guy, because some of the highest I've seen is around one. I had an offer for 200 on the platinum. That's the highest that I've seen in my bracket. It's 200. So if you're getting 250, they interested. And you can probably, and that's the business platinum. Check and see, because I think you said you already had personal Amexes already. Yeah, man. If you can afford to hit that marker, if you can find 20K in 3 months, that's a deal. That's a deal. Because if you know how to use them MR points, that's a deal. Yes, sir. I got the offer from Amex and done used it, paid it back, and it's sitting. My man, Credit Cousin, ain't no slowing down for him. Ain't no slowing down for him. How, was it a decent size Credit Cousin? Because I know that they, usually stay in a safe range with those lines of credit. Was it a decent size? Because was it like 5, 10, 15 range, something like that? Or was it a little better than that? Because I know that those lines of credits, they like to stay in a certain range on projected revenue and stuff like that. Ricardo, 20K in 3 months, kind of high. Definitely. That's why you kind of heard me say that. Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about, yeah, almost just under $6,000 a month. Steep. And I'll tell you right now, if it ain't something that you feel like you can catch and rebound on, as far as, paying it back off, then it probably is not worth the points. But 250 MR bonus is heavy. Like that's heavy, my guy. Like that's a big offer. 250 is a big offer. But 20K in 3 months is stiff. 20K in 6 months might have been a different conversation. But 20K in 3 months, they definitely looking for a high spender. Definitely looking for a high spender. You talking about, yeah, man, seven. Well, yeah, more like 7 grand. Or, yeah, like seven, just under 7 grand a month in spending. So that's heavy. That's heavy. Anybody else on the live got any questions? Credit unions, banks, credit cards, mortgages, home ownership, real estate investing as far as the lending side is concerned in particular. We probably gonna wrap this live up in a few minutes, but I want anybody sitting in the backfield that hasn't commented or said anything, I want y'all to feel free to step up and ask any questions while you got myself and another expert on some of these topics. Ricardo, look up ground floor. Elaborate on that, credit cousin. Ground floor. Is that actually is that like a website or is that like a tech? What you referring to? If you don't mind elaborating on that, credit cousin. Anybody else on the live sitting in the background? I'm looking up here. I see some additional hats that may not have commented. Just let us know you're in the building. That's all. Just send an emoji. Just send an emoji. Let us know you're in the building. Just let us know you're in the building if you're sitting in the backdrop. I want to know which one of my pioneers is on that's locked in and paying attention, sharing some good knowledge and education with me. Y'all let me know. Y'all comment down below. Let me know y'all here. Y'all see that skyline behind me? It's nice back there. It's nice. I'm telling y'all, fall coming soon. Fall is coming early this year because it's way too nice at night in August here in New Orleans. Real estate investing at a high percentage payback to you. So, credit cousin, are you saying like taking the funds and putting it into like a particular investment that pays back a percentage to you on the money, and they pay it back to you? It sounds like what you're referring to, but you can clarify that if that's not what you're referring to. Because there's definitely mortgage note strategies and things like that, different ways to put your money cash in and get good returns in moderately short windows of time. I know those exist for sure. If you can liquidate those cards. Ground floor. Yeah, I guess y'all, hey, I'm gonna have to check that out too, Ricardo. Credit cousin dropping some diamonds on this one. I haven't seen ground floor either. Anybody else on the live got any questions or comments? Let us know you're in the building. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Let us know you're in the building, who you are, where you're from, some of your interests. P&R Connected LLC. I have 23,000 credit card from Navy Federal and just applied for another one. He only gave me 1,000 on the new card. Can you tell me why low? Yeah, I mean, it depends, my guy. It depends. Um, Number of factors could have played into that. It could have depended on how soon you applied from the first one. Could have depended on the extension of your relationship with Navy Federal. Maybe based on your relationship, do they feel like you have enough? The internal score with them is definitely relevant. Did anything change with your credit that would have affected their comfort level? That's not normal. I'll tell you right now, that's not really normal. I do think that stands out, but it does depend on how fast you applied, your relationship with Navy Federal. Did your credit make any kind of change that would have made them nervous? Is there anything else that would have went on to your knowledge that you could maybe speak on that would help me to answer that question for you? Because it could have been a number of factors. That definitely looks like they were skittish about something. Definitely looks like they were skittish about something. Yeah, they all about relationships, Ricardo said. Absolutely. They all about it. That's a fact. That is a fact. Could have been a number of factors on there, my guy. I applied for the first one a year ago. Yeah. Nah. Something not right with that. Something not right with that. You got 23 on the first one, and you apply for another personal card, and they only give you 1,000. Something ain't right with that. Anything change on your credit? Any significant change in income on the application that you put down? And did your relationship with them change in that year of time, in that year's period of time? Man, credit cousin, you got $100,000 line of credit with them people? Is that what I'm confirming with you just now? $100,000 line of credit on that Amex line of credit? Man, that's crazy. Man, that's crazy. 100 grand on that line of credit first time out? Man, does your did you do that with the YouTube channels LLC? Do you have an LLC with the YouTube channel? Is that the one you went with? And do you have other business activity with your LLC that's contributing to revenue, credit cousin? Because I know Blueprint is involved in more than this YouTube channel. So, uh, there's definitely other activity that will contribute to projected revenues and things of that nature. So, curious if that was the case for you. Yeah, Ricardo, for sure. For PNR Connected LLC, if your internal relationship isn't that strong with Navy Federal, share certificates, savings or CD share certificates would definitely be helpful in opening them up for sure. I've had at least one auto loan with Navy Federal, 2 different personal loans, and I've done 10 savings secure loans with Navy Federal over my time with them. A little excessive, but I built the hell out of that relationship for sure in the handful of years I've had them, and it's built out my credit profile nicely as well. Like added to it as well. So definitely relationship focused. That's any institution, by the way, but Navy Federal is a lot more generous. Navy Federal is a lot more generous. Securities backed line of credit is my new next venture. Yes, sir, credit cousin. I plan on cover. I've already covered 1 or 2 videos on that lines of credit, but I definitely plan on exercising that one as well. I'm building up my portfolio on the stock side for that. Yeah, child support, grab my checking and savings, and also have a business credit card for 7 grand. Yeah, definitely. P&R Connected. That's probably where that came. Probably, if you had a big dip in deposits, relationships shriveled up or shrunk up in that window of time due to some personal issues like that, definitely possible why Navy Federal got skittish. Is the business credit card with Navy Federal too that you're referencing, or is that another institution? Credit cousin asked Ricardo where he's from. I would love for all of y'all to put y'all cities in there, to be honest. Would love for all of y'all to put y'all cities in there. Yeah, P&R Connected. That probably is what it is. If you have decent balances and they got drained out due to that personal issue, that definitely could have did it. Definitely. Yeah, I know. That child support conversation is tough, fellas. We're not even gonna try to go there. All right, P&R, you said that business credit card. So I mean, that's a decent relationship though. 23 on a personal, 7 on a business. That's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. You're in Baltimore, Maryland. Shout out to the whole tri-state area, man. Baltimore, Maryland, all of that. DC. Shout out to that whole area. Colorado. I kind of Ricardo. I almost traveled to Colorado this summer. I'll be out there sometime in the next 6 months to a year. I'll be out somewhere around there. I almost came to Denver this summer. Almost. I went to Austin instead, but I almost went to Denver. Shout out to Baltimore, Maryland, man. And Yeah, P and I'm sorry to hear about that one, man. I got two kids, so I'll open up and let you know. I'm fortunate my situation didn't transpire out in that way. But that's a headache, man. I didn't seen that one cause real problems. So that probably is what it is. But I think you should still definitely be proud of that 23-7, man. That's a pretty good relationship. And you can keep building with them for sure. Absolutely, man. Absolutely, on most definitely. You got any questions? If it's within my wheelhouse, I'm gonna give you my honest answer. If it's not, I'll tell you the truth. But most definitely on giving any insight for sure. For sure. Anybody else sitting on the live got some questions or curiosities, or at least tell us where y'all from? I know we got a few more heads sitting back there. I want to know more about my pioneers back there before we get off. Let me know anybody else sitting in the backfield. A few questions. As long as you asking a serious and legitimate question, there's no dumb questions, man. Banking, personal banking, personal business credit, home ownership. Let's talk about some of it. Economic shifts, interest rates. Any questions? We've been on for about an hour and some change. I want to shout out each one of y'all out, especially my early comers. Credit cousin, Ricardo spending this time with me. Anybody else in the backfield got any questions, thoughts, or just want to shout out where they from? Wayne, you said you're Chicago, you're in the Chi? I was in Chicago last year, man. I didn't get all the way around the city, but I spent a lot of time downtown. Beautiful city, man. Beautiful city. Got to eat down there. I spent about 3 or 4 days. It was Easter. It's my time. Lincoln Park out there. I went to Lincoln Park, I believe that is. I like it out there in Chicago, Wayne, that I could see. Yeah, credit cousin. With $100,000 initial line of credit on the first offer, man, absolutely would say that that's a bait and hook strategy. Absolutely, they definitely trying to reel you in because that's heavy. That's heavy. But congratulations on that, man. That's a hell of an accomplishment. 100,000 line of credit on a business is no joke. P&R connected. I had been with Navy Federal about 13 months. I also have CDs with them, and my internal score was 300. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds like you covered a lot of ground with them, P&R, because 13 months is really, in a grander scheme, not a hell of a long time. 23 on starting limit, 7 on business. Was the business credit card in between the 23 and the 1,000? Was the business credit card for 7 between the 23,000 and the 1,000 on the other personal? So no, I haven't formed the LLC for the YouTube channel yet. Got you, cousin. Got you. Yeah, I already had this is already organized for me. I got a business around Blueprint, but it is involved in other activity than just YouTube. One-on-one consulting, some real estate activity, and others. Did you get the offer to open a checking account with Amex and get a $200 bonus? Yeah, Ricardo, I definitely opened that Amex checking. Definitely opened it. Definitely opened it. Racking up some MR points that way. Yeah, I covered a video on that as well because I'm a big believer in having those checking accounts too with those institutions. It's definitely You might not be able, if you can't afford to have it everywhere, then it's not always necessary to break your neck. But definitely a big proponent of having those checking accounts with those institutions, no doubt about it. I did, Ricardo, to ask you a question. Yeah, you see him, huh, credit cousin? Racking up those bonuses, man. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, PNR. That makes sense. That might be where you at. That might be where you at, my guy. You got 23 on a personal turnaround and got 7 on a business. I know a year is a long gap. I honestly would say a year is enough time to still get more credit. But given that you may have had balances with some issues with balances, or your relationship kind of went down from what they were used to seeing, they could have got a little skittish on you, PNR. They could have got a little skittish on you. So just, if you're not having already, I wouldn't give up on that relationship at all. Rebuild your balances up, stay patient with them, and just keep building up on the credit side as well. Just keep the same healthy activity that got you 2023. I wouldn't give up on a relationship. I think that scenario, the child support, and if it hit your balances, I can understand how that would have happened. Gotcha, Ricardo. Switch my VA payments over to your Amex checking. I'm assuming you're talking about. Shout out to you if you're a veteran, by the way, man. My pops is a veteran. I don't know. Shout out to you, Ricardo, if you military background. Shout out to you. My pops is a Vietnam veteran, so definitely can relate to that. Definitely can relate to that. A lot of respect. DMV, cousin. DMV. I'm supposed to be coming out to Virginia later in October around my birthday, but I haven't decided if I'm officially coming out. Shout out credit cousin, saying that you can PNR. You see credit cousins. If you don't know, this is another active YouTuber. It's a good guy, and he's definitely speaking that he can potentially help with the child support issues that somewhere he's experienced that. I think we all have experienced some level of, if we got kids, many of us can definitely attest to having some kind of challenges around those scenarios. So I've been fortunate with child support, but I also have custody of my oldest child, my daughter. So kind of went the opposite for me. Ricardo, thanks. Wayne, how do you avoid losing favor with your primary banking institution while building a relationship with others? Great question, Wayne. Great question, Wayne. So my answer to that is my experience. My primary financial institution still gets the bulk of my payroll, wherever that may be coming from. I have personally exercised the measure of direct deposit switching, or basically like what I would call balance gardening, where I drop balances in like savings accounts with institutions and just let it sit. And if I have the direct deposits, which I do side work as well, like I have primary job income, corporate income, I have business income, and I still would do gig work in a heartbeat if I need the income for something. I'm not above it. So I switch direct deposits, even if it's small. Literally, even if it's small, $100, $150 direct deposit once a month, couple times a month. Wayne, like if you're building those relationships, you just want to either balances or flowing direct deposits. Those two things will get you in the door. I'm using balances right now at PNC, Bank of America. I just drop, whatever I can afford to put in there, 500, 1,000, 300, whatever the case, in their savings account, whatever the minimum balance requirement is to avoid fees. I sit it in their savings accounts and I just chill, and I'll maybe put a small recurring transfer in there. So if you got the excess cash flow or balances, that is a great way to continue to build those banking relationships, because you want to tease these banks. You don't have to go in charging and kicking the door down with big balances and big recurring, deposits and stuff like that. You just want to tease them real good, let them know that you got some excess cash or cash flow. And trust me, over time, Bank of America and PFC both, after about 3 or 4 months, and that's what about $500 in each account, like savings accounts with them, have already started sending me offers. It gets you in their data, their system. They get to monitor your behavior. I got small transfers going in, so they're seeing that I have a little bit of excess cash flow, and they're getting probably soft pulls on my personal credit. and when they did their background checks. So to answer your question, keep your main institution with your primary income. If you don't already have secondary income, you might want to use balances or consider doing some kind of gig work for quick money that you can just direct deposit into those accounts. Great question, though, Wayne. Great question. Yes, you can split your paychecks up. Ricardo is 100% correct. If you have the excess cash flow and you can afford to just split your direct deposits, that's a strategy. He's spot on. But keep most of the direct deposit at your primary bank. That's right. That's correct, Ricardo. You're telling them right. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. But that's right, credit cousin. Let them know. Let them know. Be respectful when you walk in the door. Make sure you be respectful. Hit the like button if you're in. Please hit the like button. Leave a comment. Leave a comment. Like button. It's being respectful when you come in the door. Most definitely. Tell them, credit cousin. PNR asks, should he do a reconsideration on a new card? If it's within 30 days, it might not hurt. Of course, Wayne. Of course, man. And shout out to Ricardo for jumping in on that one. That was a great ad, Ricardo. For sure. Yeah, PNR. I would, if it's within 30 days and you have material argument for why you should have gotten that credit limit increase, it's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt to do reconsideration, especially if you got a solid basis to it. If you feel like your relationship with them and your credit is good and your relationship with them is still solid enough where you should have got a better limit, I don't think it hurts at all to call them if it's within 30 days. Most reconsideration needs to be done within 30 days, but if it is, I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Gotcha. You ain't even received the call yet, PNR. Yeah, man. I would consider it. I would consider it 110%. It's up to you to evaluate the details of your relationship, your credit, income, because you got to think about exposure with Navy Federal. 80K is the top, but you have to consider, is your income and DTI and stuff like that, for them, they have a $30,000 or $31,000 exposure level right now. Does your income and your DTI and stuff add up to more than that, where they could have extended more and not feel like they're being overextended? PNR. So think about that. You personally assess that. You don't have to get in details with me on this live, but if your income is X amount of dollars and they already extended 31,000 to you, consider that as well. It could have been that too. Think about your DTI and your income. These banks definitely don't want to overexpose themselves. So please keep that in mind. All right, y'all. We about to wrap this one up. Any last questions, thoughts, comments, anything? Trying to make sure we get everybody some spotlight on this first live. This is definitely the first live on this channel. 480 videos plus, mostly long form, not shorts. I'm not cheating y'all with shorts, even though I don't mind shorts. 480 plus videos long. This is the first live. So all of y'all that's on here, shout out to every single one of y'all, man. Y'all made history on my channel. This is my first live ever on Blueprint for Prosperity. So I want y'all to pat yourselves on the back, give yourselves a salute. I appreciate every single one of y'all because this is definitely the first live and y'all definitely made it worth it, man. We've been doing an hour and 20 strong. Great conversation. Got you, credit cousin. Got you. I'll let you know if I come. It's supposed to be at the end of October. My birthday is the 30th of October, almost a Halloween baby. I would definitely let you know if I make that trip. I want to say it's Williamsburg, Virginia that I was looking at. This is like something that Amex had, like a special offer on a trip that they had that I was considering. So I'll let you know if I take that up because I wanted to see that entire DMV area while I'm out there for a few days. So I'll let you know sometime in September. I'll keep it in mind if I pull the trigger on that trip officially. And I would love to link up with you for sure. I'd love to link up with you. Man, Ricardo, that's interesting. They say lack of use of available overall credit. Speculation when I answer this one, Ricardo. Speculation, because I haven't seen a bank with that kind of denial before. I would say try it. Leave 3-5% on a couple cards and let it report for a couple months, few months, and give it a shot. It's pure speculation. I can't say that I've seen a bank, that I can remember say a lack of utilization like that as a denial reason. Because if your credit's strong, overall credit, got 180,000 in personal limits. It's funny. City just denied me and asked me for a double A platinum card. Lack of use of available overall credit. So, what else you might want to consider? Try leaving the balances for a little while and going back. But maybe if I'm reading right and you saying you got 180,000 in personal credit limits, shout out to you first off, sir. That is impressive. But you might have such high limits overall that they feel like, if you're keeping them all at zero, they might feel like you're overexposed and what you got available. What's going to be the value in them giving you a card? Like what spending can you do on their card long term? So it might just be one of those things where you might not look as attractive as a long-term card holder if you think about it from that perspective. They might just be thinking like this guy already has 180 and he's barely using any of it, or he's not using much, or he's paying it down. So what good is it for us to extend our little few dollars and he's already got so much credit with other quality institutions? They may just feel like they can't compete, honestly. That might be something that, you know what I mean? Like that could be something. I know these are automated decisions, but there could be something in the algorithm underwriting where that's a marker for them. You might have too much going on. Yeah, I'm not knocking you. The bonuses are, I can see you playing that game heavy, and man, I can't knock you. That bonus game is heavy. Just shot a video on that not long ago. I had to shout my guy Credit Cousin out for that one, man, because that bonus game gets heavy for sure. But yeah, I would try it, man. It's not gonna hurt. Leave a few percent on utilization for. It's not gonna hurt your credit. Leave something under 5% for 2 or 3 months and see what happens, and go back and see what happens. It's not gonna hurt. But I mean, honestly, 180,000 in limits, and you paying it to zero. They probably just don't see where they have room that you could be a valid spender, consistent valid spender. Honestly. Any last questions, y'all? Any last thoughts? Any last questions before we get up out of here, y'all? Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know where y'all from. Last shout outs, questions. We about to wrap it up. Yo, we going into an hour and a half. First live. First live. Talk about dedication on a Friday night. Yeah, shout out Ricardo said more lives. Hey man, as long as y'all on supporting like this, y'all got that. Long as y'all on supporting like this, y'all got that. My goal was to test this out on Fridays. I usually do those Pioneer Spotlights on Fridays, just shouting out good comments from my loyal subscribers and my other pioneers like you. But trust me, if these lives are gonna get the attention that they got tonight, man, y'all hanging in for an hour plus like y'all doing, good conversation, good education, supporting each other. I could definitely take some time out for this. Most definitely, y'all. I appreciate this 100%. I know that every single one of y'all got lives and got things to do, man. So just hanging with me for over an hour like this is really respectable, for sure. Really respectable. Y'all got that. You got that, Ricardo. More lives. I'm gonna test that out for a little while. I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna schedule some time and test that out. I'm gonna try to do a better job giving y'all a heads up because I kind of just put it out there in the last day or two, and I know sometimes that's short notice. I'm gonna try to give y'all, a little bit more of a heads up by like a few days to a week or so if I can. So y'all be looking out next Friday around 7:30. Next Friday, I'm gonna try to let y'all know if that changed. But next Friday, 7:30, I'm probably gonna be in that same range, pulling up and doing a live around 7 p.m. That's Central Time. 7:30 Central Time, y'all. I'm in Louisiana, I'm in New Orleans. So y'all let me know, y'all look at y'all time zones and see how that work for y'all. Next Friday around 7 p.m. Central Time, 7:30 Central Time. PNR, man, you already know. You already know PNR. Anytime, man. Anytime. Anytime. Continue to tune in. Leave your video request around topics like you came in this live. If you got time to catch the next live, I'm gonna try to make this a Friday thing. We're gonna see how this goes. So let me know. You know what I'm saying? Hey, credit cousin. All blessings. All blessings. Thank you, man. Always. I appreciate you, man. It's the first live. I see my loyal guys in here. So man, I'm excited. I appreciate y'all. Most definitely. We're gonna do some more lives. I'm gonna work on that at least once a week on Fridays, y'all. Somewhere around 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. That seems to be a good time for all my subscribers. Amen. P&R, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Most definitely. Most definitely. Most definitely. Definitely gonna remember you. Any questions, any assistance, if you want to continue to just kind of keep us posted on how you make progressing with Navy Federal and any other institution, definitely want to see you win, get access to capital and get access to the best banking relationships. Hey, Wayne, thank you. Shout out to you too, man. I know you were in early. Thank you, Wayne. Most definitely. Great week. I wish you a great weekend as well, for sure. Next Friday, between 7:30, I'm gonna be putting that in the community. Y'all will see some posts verifying that. If anything changes, I'm gonna do my best to let y'all know. But y'all scheduled for Central Time, 7:30 p.m. Another live stream. We're gonna get into whatever the hot topics. We might even talk a little bit about this economic cycle, political cycle. We might talk a little bit about that, keep it around the money. But for sure. For sure. All right, y'all. If there's no last questions or comments, Wayne, PNR, Ricardo, credit cousin, every single one of y'all and everybody else who didn't necessarily put themselves out there but still spend some time. Thank y'all. First live stream, history on my channel. It's history on my channel. Y'all got any questions? Y'all can leave some comments, additional thoughts. Y'all let me know. I'm about to sign out of here, And again, next Friday, somewhere around 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Central Time, we should be tapping in for another live stream. I'll let y'all know if that changes, but we're going to strive to make this a Friday routine, y'all. I wish y'all a great weekend. Be safe, stay vigilant, stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon.